All right. Looks like I should be live here. We'll see if it comes on my other window. I'm not going to be doing this for long. There we go. Yeah, I'm not going to do this for too long, just because I'm probably going to do a pretty long stream tomorrow night watching the election results. Probably have some people on to watch them with me. We'll talk about that. I was just going to talk about a couple quick things, last minute thoughts about what's going to happen. I already made my final prediction, and I kind of vacillate back and forth on it every hour or so that I think about this as to what I think is going to happen, ranging all the way from, Trump's going to dominate it to Kamala's going to win every swing state and all this other stuff. But I'm sticking with my last one just because I think it's still pretty good, which I'll put up on the screen here. And I guess I don't remember if I explained my rationale for why I think this is going to happen. I think I did a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so that's showing up there. This is what I had. Oh, wait, but I had Georgia flipped there. So, am I missing another one now? Oh, North Carolina. Okay, so this is what I had. Basically, Harris winning 308, Trump losing 230. All the swing states except Arizona go to her. Essentially, it's the same as it was with Joe Biden. They just switch North Carolina and Arizona. And I already explained part of my rationale for that, them maybe underestimating Kamala Harris in the polls because of the abortion issue, just not accounting for the amount of particularly like young Gen Z women. And then I think they probably have got a good grasp on the older women, because I don't know why the fuck you wouldn't, and everyone's talking about that already. And so I think there's that, and I think that they're overcorrecting for the non-response bias of Trump voters in their polls. I know they're doing it. They all say they're doing it, and I just don't think that it's as bad as it used to be. Like I don't feel like these people are worried about telling people that they support him. So I don't know about that. And I think the other thing is, I've read some articles by Nate Silver, who's like one of the most respected pollsters in the country. And essentially, and he's respected by people on both sides of the aisle. Like he's not, as far as I can tell, a partisan hack or anything. Everyone seems to take him seriously. So pretty good sign there. And his argument is that all of these polls that are saying it's like dead even, that it's pretty much impossible that they actually could be. His thing is, he says the polls are all herding, is what he calls it. So essentially, they're just copying each other, and they're copying the results from the last election because none of them want to get caught looking stupid. So the way they do it is they apply the weights and stuff, like I've explained before, where they basically adjust how they're going to have their poll represent the population. They're going to adjust how their poll is going to represent who an early voter is. And then they adjust it so that it essentially just matches what most of the other polls are saying and what the results from the last election looked like. So they don't look crazy. So they don't look like an outlier in all of this. And the reason I'm talking about all of this is I'm about to bring up the poll in Iowa, which if you're paying attention really closely to this, you would have heard about. And I think that's relevant. But before I get there, I'll finish with what I was talking about. So I think there's stuff like that. And essentially his whole thing is that it's like statistically impossible that all of these polls could be as close as they actually are, even if the election was as close as they're saying it is. Like there's just statistically, without kind of monkeying around, like screwing around with the weights and stuff, without this herding effect, you would expect there to be a lot more outliers. I think he said there was like a 1 in 9 trillion chance that all of these polls would be showing what they're showing. So, I'd take that seriously. So I think it's underestimating somebody, I guess, is my argument, and I think that's what he says. And it could be that they're accurate, but they would be accurate kind of by more out of luck than the fact that they're actually being accurate. But I've already said with the abortion stuff, I think that's going to weigh in really heavily in the Rust Belt states, just because those are less socially conservative. They're up in the north, they're not part of the Bible Belt. These are historically blue states that have voted blue a lot, and so that's kind of why I think that's going to play a lot, really heavy with those. And if she wins all three of those, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, she wins. So that's a pretty good bet there. Georgia and North Carolina are a little different. My reasoning on those. One is that with Georgia, it's just got a high black population, and I think she's going to do better with African Americans than she's expected to by certain people. It's really weird. It seems like she's being underestimated with them. I don't know. It just seems like to me intuitively that she would do much better than Joe Biden even did. I don't think I need to get into the identitarian reasons why that would be, but I feel like that's true. North Carolina, a little bit the same thing with that, but Joe Biden lost it, and so sort of my thinking there is, I don't think it was hit as hard by inflation. I think the maybe the abortion stuff plays into it a little there. It was already very close last time. One of the other big things with North Carolina is it just got the whole western part of the state just got totally destroyed by a hurricane, and that's like all Trump country. That's heavy, dense, like 80 to 90 point Trump country. So the fact that all those, tons of houses and towns and stuff were just destroyed. So I feel like the turnout's going to be really low for them. Even, what would this be, like a month later or whatever it is? I don't know. So I feel like those factors, all of it combined, could flip it for her. Nevada was kind of just it was the way I was thinking. Like, I think they weren't hit as hard by inflation either, but it was. Now I've got a much better reason for Nevada. And Nevada was more of just kind of a hunch. I just kind of thought she would get it because it's been blue. It was blue last time. Now one of the top pollsters over there, one of the most respected guys there, who everyone was waiting on his prediction, came out and he predicted, I think, every single one that he's ever called the race for, which is going back, I don't even know, decades. He's gotten it right. So pretty good reason to think it's John Ralston. So he called it. And so, I don't know, best guess there. Arizona, I just kind of thought, it's a historically red state. It's a border state. It's smaller black population, higher Hispanic population. Not so much part of the Bible Belt kind of thing. It sort of is, but I think the main thing that'll be at play there is bigger turnout from the Trump supporters and the border stuff. So that's sort of my rationale. But onto this Iowa thing. I've talked about most of that stuff all before. I was just going to go a little more into depth. I'm not going to change my mind. I'm going to leave that as my final prediction. I thought about changing it, but we'll leave it. This thing with Iowa. So this was weird. This was really fucking weird. I don't think anyone was expecting this. Essentially, you had the Des Moines Register. They run this poll from this one woman, Anne, is it Selger? I can't say her name. Sounds like Seltzer. Anyway, she does this poll that's like also, again, really highly respected by lots of people. It's like the gold standard of their Iowa polls or whatever. And she's predicted like every one of them right since, I don't even know, 2012. I'm not sure if that's when she started or if she had mistakes before that. I don't know. And she predicted, kind of the thing with her is she predicted a lot of these upsets that other people didn't. Her polls don't necessarily go with, and this is the same with that other guy from Nevada I was talking about. They don't match usually, or not usually, but sometimes whenever all the other polls are saying something different, they'll say something opposed to them and get it right. So they've avoided kind of the egg on their face that some of these other years have had for a lot of the polls. Like she predicted, Trump winning. She predicted Obama winning, I think, in the Iowa primaries. And Iowa is obviously a lot more important for the caucuses or primaries or whatever. And so she's got a lot of these like kind of upsets, political upsets correct. And on top of that, the polls are just very accurate to what actually comes out typically. I was looking through some of them, and the results were like always like within 1 or 2 points of what actually ends up happening. And she predicted that Harris was going to win Iowa. She didn't predict it; her poll did. I guess I should say her poll. She put out this poll, the same poll she always runs, and she was saying it's going to be Harris +3 in Iowa. So Harris winning Iowa by 3. And the reason that's crazy is because you've heard me talk about, if you've heard me or anyone else talk about this, you would know that's not one of the swing states that's like a solid red state. That would be like not quite like Texas going blue, just because Texas has been red much longer. Iowa, I think they voted in Obama. I think 2008 or something like that. I don't remember the last time they went blue. It's been a little while. They've been voting red on everything, Republicans on everything for, I want to say, at least a decade now. And also, they're just not as important as it would be for Texas to flip flop. Most people think this is not going to happen. She's not going to win that. And this is an outlier poll, and everybody gets it wrong eventually. You can't just get it right forever. And that's probably true. There's like a 6-point margin of error in the poll. So but I guess that's my thing is, even if she's totally wrong, and let's just say it falls 6 points short of what she's predicting, that's the margin of error on it. That would be Trump only winning Iowa by 3, which would more than like cut his lead in half from what he had last time. So that's a bad sign for them. Even if you go with the complete far end of the spectrum on that, it would still be pretty fucking terrible for him if he only wins Iowa by like 2 or 3 points. I'm not saying that's going to happen. She could be totally wrong. There was another poll that just came out that had him winning Iowa by 10 points, which is more like what you would think. And part of the issue with that one, though, is it also had like a 15-point margin of error. And so the two polls kind of overlapped at the far ends of their spectrum. They overlapped in this like Trump winning by 2 to 4 points, which is not very good. That's at least cutting his winnings in half from last time. So that's kind of why that's significant. Sort of a good sign for Harris, terrible sign for Trump if it's true. She could just be totally fucking wrong. It would be odd though, because historically she's gotten it right so much. So that's kind of the only big news from over the weekend, was that nothing else has really changed. All the other polls, a bunch of other polls came in, but there was nothing surprising in any of them. They were all saying the same old shit over and over again. And yeah, we'll see. I don't know what else there is to say about it. I'm not sure if they're gonna. I kind of doubt they're gonna have it called by tomorrow night. It's probably gonna be a landslide if that happens. Some of the states, like last time, took like what was it, like a week before we knew. That could happen again. I don't know. I'm gonna stream it tomorrow though. Like I said, I'll have some people on. That was really all I had. I was just gonna talk about that Iowa poll. That was fucking weird. I didn't see that. It wasn't on my bingo card. I'll say this. If she's right, if she's even close to correct, if Kamala wins that state at all or just barely loses it, I think he's completely fucked. I think that she'll win all the Rust Belt states for sure, and probably all the swing states. If she flips Iowa, that would be nuts. That would be nuts. You're in for like a massive, just mollywhopping if that happens. I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I think that maybe it won't be. I think maybe he won't do as well in it as he's expected to, which is still not a good sign. Probably the ones we'll know quickest from what I've heard, are Georgia and North Carolina. I think they've changed some of the ways they do things, and also they're on the East Coast. So we ought to start getting the results from them pretty quick. And if she's doing well in those, it's a good sign. If Trump's doing well in those, I don't know that it matters so much for her because she could still. I don't see those as connected, really. Like I see the Georgia and North Carolina are more similar, and then the Rust Belt states and Pennsylvania I see as like their own thing, and the factors affecting them are going to be different. It's kind of the way I think about it, and everybody says this too. Those three states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, always vote the same, essentially. I think that they said the last time that they voted separately was like in the 80s. So, pretty good chance they're all going to one person or the other. And whoever that is going to win. I mean, I guess there is a scenario. This is kind of a dumb one. I don't think would ever happen where if Kamala wins them all, she wins. Trump could win them all. And then if Kamala won all the other swing states, she would win. So, I don't think that's happening. That would be fucking weird. That's not going to happen. But anyway, that's all I got. I'll see you tomorrow once this thing gets started. I'll start a stream and probably have to watch it on like NBC or ABC or something like that. But that's all I got. See you later.